think I should have titled this appropriately, but I just thought of it now. I was thinking about support structures and everything like that. We all know these things intrinsically. Um, like I said, I just thought of this now about support structures and everything. And we all know the basics of it. Um, but I just wanted to get my thoughts out there off my chest, so to speak. Um, Let me say like a little bit of background, and so you know sort of where I'm coming from, or you know undoubtedly that how it relates and how it associates with POTUS, without former POTUS Trump. So I realized by accident that I had a support structure growing up. It was corrupt in nature and everything, but I didn't want to. It's not something I wanted to gather around me, but it just happened. Like I tried to resolve things how I needed to resolve things. Unfortunately, it became very violent after I was pushed against the wall and had no choice but to defend myself. And in the court of law, it was a lot of these bloody instances is viewed as self-defense, with all evidence shown before there, the bloody clothing and everything, and laid before everybody else. And I was even able to get those implements that I did what I needed to do back, because it was viewed that I was in the right, because I tried to back down and I wasn't allowed to, because I was viewed as an animal and I defended myself bloodily and violently. That happens. It's racism, and it is. But the side effect of that being so young is that people are like, wow, you're going to Supreme, you got to be racist or whatever. That'd be fucked up. I mean, people definitely going to be like, oh, he deserves it. He's an animal. Demonize you, like, for good reason. That's for him. He needs to be treated like that because that's what he is. And all this, is racism. But it doesn't allow you to back down, because when you back down, it views you as being a pussy. Therefore, people get more sadistic and attack you even more. And they get hyped up and emboldened to attack you because they feel justified that they're doing the moral right thing, but it's based on racism. But then you have the other side that is not racist, that are morally upstanding, correct, and see you're just trying to do the right thing. Black, Latino, and white. And they gather around you. You know what I'm saying? You got that support structure, and indirectly that happens. I didn't know what it was called. People said it was like an entourage or whatever, like, and it's like being, famous, whatever, and all those people, enablers that helped you out. And I always said I'm only as good as the people that are around. It's really not me. I don't know. It's the people around me. It's their talent, their skill, their knowledge. People came up to me with information. It was really them, not me. I always, after a while, I realized it, and I had to understand it was them. That's who. And granted, I still had a corrupt morality back in the day, so I used that to get myself out of trouble, out of the court or whatever, because it's corrupting having that around you at such a young age. You don't know that, but it's a support structure. That's my point. That's the background. And I was like, how do I get that legally? That's what I always wanted, where I wouldn't have to worry about something. How would I get that where I didn't have to be violent, where I had to deal with racism, where I had to do anything illegal, And then at a young age, you put this and you try to deconstruct it. And, of course, some of it, some of the aesthetics, how you look, what you achieved, if you're a sports star, if you're a model, if you're famous or whatever, an actor or whatever. There's other things that draw in people, and you could bring in talent. And just keep building towards that. But that's not what I'm getting at. I'm not saying how to get famous and whatever or anything like that. I'm talking about support structures. Now, going to Trump, The presidency brings in people, talent, skill, the best this nation has to offer. He doesn't, he already had it. He already, that office alone does all that. Doesn't do anything wrong, just needs to do what is best for the people, be a servant of the people, and you will get the best talented people around you to have a very successful life afterwards. It's like, look what you did. We want you to have money. But he turned it in on itself, thinking like he could outsmart something that is already the most brilliant minds of our nation already produced, established, and created a support structure for the presidency. And he turned it within itself. So he turned what something gathers in talent against itself. So the inverse will happen. So instead of gathering the most talented, he got basically the worst of the worst. To the point, after a while, even if it was the presidency, it corrupted the office so bad they didn't want to be a part of it. So that actually happened. That inverse actually happened. Something that brings in the most talented people started to bring in the worst of what our nation has out there. And it's self-destructed, and that's what he lost the election. I mean, by and large, you know what I'm saying? It's just how it was. We still think the office, and he was running on basically the fumes of what we perceive that office to be, bringing in talent, but it wasn't. It was far from it. Now, time and history will tell if I'm right or wrong. But I just thought of it now because I think that's exactly what happened. So much to the point I'm saying that's what happened. You know, in my mind, it's like that's what happened. So in a way, I'm not really worried about Trump. He's going to bring in the worst. You know what I'm talking about? It's just how talented are they? They want something that's going to implode. Because when you're smart, you sort of deconstruct it. But like, that's not exactly going to work. How is me constantly taking in gonna subside, gonna be sustainable? It just isn't. You gotta. It's like a social Ponzi scheme. Yeah, I'll get something. You get something, but the person at the end of the thing would be one holding. Be the one without the chair. The one you couldn't fool. Last one on the thing. You know what I mean? And honestly, the last one you couldn't fool is not going to be black or Latino. It's going to be someone that thinks they could fool black and Latino. You know what I'm talking about? So they'll be like, you made us fucking go up in this goddamn Capitol? And now I could do 20 years? Because I'm literally, it's just like crazy. You know what I'm talking about? It's just like, so, support structures. You know what I mean? If you got it, don't corrupt it. Be grateful. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So my point, what I'm getting at is, he had that. Now he has to face just about everybody coming down to bring all that down, because he only could suppress the truth so long. And it doesn't make him immune to it. And so they don't want the office to be corrupted again. They don't want that powerful office that could bring in the nation's best to be switched around in on itself, to bring in the worst. You know what I mean? So I think people are going to realize that, and I'm not too worried at all. I mean, organically, I'm not saying just leave it alone, laissez-faire, and do nothing. That's ridiculous, because we got a hybrid system of socialist and capitalistic ideas, fascist and very communal. Again, a balance of the two, ruled by very libertarian parliamentary procedures. So we have just enough strong um, central government, executive branch, a king for 4 years, of the fascist part of it, balanced perfectly. Well, not balanced as best as chaotic and competition and capitalist structures would allow with the Supreme Court and Congress. So we already have that. We have an empire already here. We don't need to destroy that balance. You know what I'm talking about? Um, that's why I don't understand to make a king is just absolutely ridiculous. You would give too much weight to one thing, and then we don't have the genius of a mass entity of making decisions that's representative of the people, because there's a brilliance in all of us electing people, you know, talking about, and having all those minds problem solve and do all the nuances throughout a multicultural, racial populace. You know, talking about fucking up that balance is just ridiculous. And he should have found a different way to establish wealth. Because part of it, unfortunately, is not just obtaining it, it's keeping it. And people have to like you and be like, hey, you deserve that. I'm not going to go after you legally. You know what I'm talking about? And obviously, we've been around for a while. We want a better society. And you treat your neighbor well. We made laws so you treat your neighbor well, so people could say, hey, you deserve that. And once you break that, that inverse happens. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, support structures, he had it, the inverse happened, and we keep worrying about everything, but who really wants that to happen again? You know what I'm talking about? I mean, if you have a political ideology that is subjugating another people, I mean, it's doomed to fail. You know what I mean? It just is. And you can just look at history, it just always happens, you know. But, anyways, my point is it got turned on itself, just realized it, and I don't see him becoming an issue again. I just don't. You know what I mean? It's just like so many people came together to create that office, to bring in the best. And when you fuck with that balance, you know, why the fuck are you going to support a guy? You know what I'm saying? All right. Here's what I have to say. Just thought of it now. Support structures, get it the right way.